Thank you, Miss Iman. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure being with you today. Um, as Iman said, I knew her from before. I had the chance to work with Miss Iman at a certain period of time, and it was a pleasure, really, and fun working with her. I would say that we both share the passion of teaching young learners, correct? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm here today, although I'm teaching now in another context, which is the higher education, but still I share with you the passion of teaching to the young learners, because actually this is my background. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Noha Abou Karam, and I'm currently the head of the testing unit in the English Language Center in Forest University in Alexandria. Um, I've been working with young learners for so many years before shifting, as I said, and still passionate about learning more when it comes to young learners. I'm a very big advocate to the outdoor classrooms, to using even the techniques that could work with adults that I've used with young learners and could work with adults. I do that in my work. So I use sometimes techniques that's related to the WBT or the whole brain teaching method. I use sometimes some aspects of the project-based learning with my students. Yeah, so whenever I can use something with my students, I go for it. So today I'm going to talk or give you a guideline that will help teachers use project-based learning in their teaching context. This is a topic that been introduced in the educational market for some time, quite a time so far, but many teachers don't know how to use it in their teaching context or from where they can start. It's easy to read about project-based learning. It's all over the internet, but it's really hard to start it. So today I'm going to help you do this. And actually, I'm going to do this from based on the National Geographic Learning Framework, because this is something I used before. So I want to talk out of my experience, let's say, okay, my personal experience, if I may say. So my presentation today will be a mix of the theoretical part, in case you're not aware of what project-based learning is about, and let's say 90% of it will be the practical part. Okay, so you're gonna be introduced to different models to project-based learning, and then we're gonna do it together at the end. I'm gonna let you actually live the real experience with me at the end. So let's start with the theoretical part. Yeah. And with a description, okay, of Thomas Markham of PBL, or project-based learning. So Thomas Markham describes project-based learning as a method or technique that integrates knowing and doing. He said that students not only learn knowledge and elements of the core curriculum, but also apply what they know to solve authentic problems and produce results that matter. Another definition of Buck Institute for Education, it's a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex question, problem, or challenge. And in these two definitions, I want you to pay attention to the word authentic, okay? So here we have the word authentic problem. Again, it's repeated here, authentic, because this is a key word, a major key word when it comes to project-based learning, and we're going to understand why. So what I want you to do now is to watch with me a video. It's a little bit long. It's 5 minutes video of a teacher. Her name is Janet. She's a primary teacher that use project-based learning with her student. Okay, and while listening to her describing her experience, I want you to reflect on the definition we've just read together. Okay, so let's watch it.
So this is where I am now. My husband and I have become monarch farmers. We're helping the monarchs, and it's all because of National Geographic and a wonderful class of curious students. Hi, I'm Jan Albert. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Harrison Elementary in Janesville, Wisconsin. I started this journey in March with my 26 students. We needed a project. We wanted something that we could do to make a difference in the world, and my kids needed something hands-on. When one of the students mentioned that monarch butterflies are declining and that they have a habitat in their backyard, we were hooked. So we started by listing what we knew about monarch butterfly. We found out we really didn't know very much at all about monarchs, and so we turned to the National Geographic Monarch Butterfly Life Cycle and Migration Lesson Plan. It's really, really well done, and the note-taking sheet that goes along with it worked well for all of my students because it asked for words and illustrations. Now that we knew a little bit about monarchs anyway, we wanted to find out more about their migration. My students' curiosity was really sparked by all of this, and they were so excited to look into things more. So I found a list of butterfly sanctuaries in the United States and in Mexico. Students worked on their research with a partner, made it easier for them to share ideas and discuss their findings. They were so engaged. It was amazing to watch. For me, this was one of the first times in my teaching career that I'd actually tried to connect with the larger world. I had an idea. I was excited. We were going to Skype. Never done it before. I know we can do it. We weren't quite ready yet. We needed to visualize how amazingly long these migratory routes of the monarch really are. And so we used National Geographic's Map Maker Interactive, and I printed out large pieces of a United States map and had my kids put it together. They were amazed at how much area the migratory routes covered, from all the way from Mexico, perhaps into the southern parts of Canada, and all throughout the United States. My students were completely responsible for putting together the map, for hanging it up, and mapping their routes. I loved the tie-in with the map skills with our social studies and our science. It was a perfect combination. And because I have so many kinesthetic learners in my classroom, they enjoyed this project tremendously. You might be able to tell from these last few pictures that it was hat day on the day we did the maps. As students continued to map their routes, they began to visualize more clearly that monarchs are more than just a little orange butterfly that you see in your backyard in the summer. As my students continued to collaborate on making this map and planning their routes, they also realized that this maybe was a bigger project than we had thought it might be to begin with. We could do more. And so they felt empowered to maybe make a difference in the world for the declining population of monarchs. We decided we were going to make a monarch habitat, and that we were going to learn all we could to make a good habitat. Before that started, though, I like to integrate other subjects in everything we do, and so we did a little bit of math to figure out the area, perimeter, and volume of our garden. Students loved it. As a class, we made a list of questions that we wanted to ask Aslan Keyes from the University of Minnesota Monarch Lab. This was our first Skype. I was nervous, I was excited, it was wonderful. So I stepped out of my box even further, and this time I was able to connect with Dr. Pablo Jaramillo from the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve in Michoacan, Mexico. He was engaging, he was helpful, the kids loved talking to him, and he answered every one of our questions. When we went back to what we thought we knew about monarch butterflies, we found out some of it was wrong. Much of it was right, but we knew so much more. So now the biggest project of all, we were ready. How were we going to help the natural world? We're going to build a monarch garden. And every child in our classroom was going to have a part in doing it. They collaborated with each other every time we came to a hurdle. I loved to see how well these kids worked together to achieve this goal. With every step, our garden continued to grow. We worked with a conservation group in our area to help get the plants for the garden. Did you know that if you put 7 layers of newspaper underneath a raised garden before you put the dirt in, it will keep the weeds out for a long time? Amazing what you can learn from others. And 4 months later, our garden continues to bloom. The pollinators are already showing up. I can't wait till we see the first monarch. So now you see, this is our first monarch that we hatched at our house. The project is already carried beyond the classroom, into my home and into the home of other students who have said they can't wait to try this on their own. Full circle. Thanks, National Geographic. I've grown so much.
So if we go back to the definition, okay, of Buck Institute for Education and reflect on what we've just seen, we'll find that Janet, with her students, used a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex question, problem, or challenge. So here, the definition is just a perfect reflection to her practice with her students. Okay, so how we're gonna start? Actually, I'm gonna give you a guide through, as I said, the National Geographic Learning Framework, but it's not a must to abide to this learning framework. So you can take it as a guide and apply it to any other learning framework you're working with. So when it comes to the National Geographic Learning Framework, according to this learning framework, okay, that the 3 elements that the National Geographic Learning focuses on are the natural world, the human world, the connection between the two. So when you want to start project-based learning, number 1, you have to search for an authentic problem, okay? Then you have to link this authentic problem to the natural world, to the human world, and to build a connection between the two. So this is the second step. Third step, you have to think of what perspectives and what skills you want to cover this authentic problem according to. So if I have, for example, the monarch butterflies and the problem they face, okay? What perspective should I discuss this problem with my students or investigate this problem with my students according to? Is it according to the spatial perspective, cultural, political, economic, historical, ecological, geological? So you have 7 perspectives, okay, that you can use to investigate any authentic problem. You don't have, of course, to go for the 7. You can choose 1 or more. So 1 is enough. If you want to choose 2, 3, that's enough. If you want to go for the 7, that's fine as well. Also, the scales. Which scale I want to discuss the problem according to, okay? How far I'm gonna discuss this problem. Is it on a local scale or regional scale or global scale? Okay, so this is the third step. Think of the perspectives and the scales you're gonna discuss or investigate your authentic problem according to. Number 4, which attitude, as a teacher, what attitudes, skills, knowledge do I want my students to gain? And this is a very wide range of, teaching aims and goals you can define yourself, Or in my case, when I go for project-based learning, I went with the National Geographic Learning Framework, and I worked out my attitudes and skills and knowledge around it. Okay, so for example, when I went with the National Geographic Learning Framework, they defined 3 attitudes